So, it's been a while since Strife has made the Ultimate MMO List, and I cannot avoid being sad for 3 games that didn't even make the list. And why, you may ask? Well, that's because these 3 games have been basically irrelevant from the internet for the past 20 years or so. And don't get me wrong, it's not like these games are the best games in the world, otherwise, they would be on the list. But these 3 games are very close to my heart, and I'm really sad they haven't gotten any attention for more than a decade now. And so, as Josh's list is 100% scientifically accurate, I will assume that these games have been completely forgotten. With some exceptions, but I'll get to that part. For now, let's begin with a game that technically made it to the video, but wasn't included as part of the list. If you paid close attention to the footage that Josh was using, you might know that the game is... That's right, Digimon Masters Online! Which, again, technically was part of the video, but was nowhere to be seen in the list. And for those who don't know about this game, Digimon Masters Online is a Digimon-themed MMORPG released in 2009, in which you not only have to take care of your mutated Tamagotchi, but you also have to take care of yourself. Sort of. Because, yes, you have your own HP additional to your Digimon's HP. But now the question is, why was Digimon Masters Online not that popular? It should have been a concept that was basically related to success, right? It's as if you were to make an MMO about Pokemon or Dragon Ball. Well, technically, Dragon Ball MMO did exist, but never came to the West, and it's dead. Anyway, why did Digimon Masters Online fail? Okay, so it has been basically more than a decade since I last played this game, and I very clearly and vividly remember what happened. You see, it wasn't the fact that it was another generic MMO, because it was, but as a free player, it was very limiting, to the point that you even started gaining less experience, and some of the cool features and Digimons were not a result of your effort as a player, but a result of how big your wallet was. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily a great game, but I do remember it because it was the very first try, and in retrospective maybe the last try we will ever have, at a Digimon-themed MMO. And believe when I say it, I'm a sucker for Digimon games. Okay, and now that I said that it wasn't necessarily a good game, then why am I sad about the fact that it wasn't on the list? Well, basically because I have very good memories of the few days that I was playing that game, and until I eventually abandoned it. And the fact that it was a concept with so much wasted potential. And I'm going to say it maybe more than once during this video, but for God's sake, even League of Angels was part of the list. And for you who doesn't know anything about Digimon Masters Online, I'll be playing it on stream for the next few days, and I have a video prepared about it and how you can enjoy it casually in 2025, as well as a video of the second game I truly regret not seeing on Josh's lists, which comes from our favorite generic MMO publisher, Aeria Games. Grand Fantasia! Yeah, that's the name. And it's a fantasy MMORPG originally released in 2009 and somewhat re-released in 2024. So, the original game is still up and running, but a refresh was released just last year, which starts from a certain patch and is going to continue evolving to the point that the live game is. And if you think, well, that sounds familiar. Yeah, it seems like the strategy of copying World of Warcraft from 20 years ago is still working as of today. This was one of many anime-style fantasy games released during that period, some of which were from that same publisher, Area Games. After the publisher closed in 2022, Grand Fantasia has been in charge of the original developer X Legend, which are the ones that released the refresh experience. And after watching Josh's video, I felt like a hole in my chest when I didn't see this game as part of the list. Even when another game from the same publisher was part of the list, and I mean, yes, I do consider Eden Eternal to be the better version of Grand Fantasia, but still, Grand Fantasia was very popular back in the day. And okay, yes, it was another generic MMO, but that's what was popular in the 2010s. Additionally, it had a very neat crafting system in which you would use these tiny little pet thingies called the sprites, and while you were adventuring or grinding levels, you had your trustworthy mascot to do the not so fun jobs. I remember spending way more than I should have playing this game, and I have very vivid memories of one of my favorite characters ever, which was a level 50 assassin. The class system and the evolution of the sprites was honestly quite interesting, enough to keep you engaged with the game for a decent while. Is it a good game? For today's standards, the most likely answer would be no. But the complete absence of this game from being even mentioned once in any of the top 10 lists is actually quite depressing. And last but not least, the third game was actually mentioned during Josh's video, but surprisingly was nowhere to be seen as part of it. And I'm truly really sad about it, cause hands down is one of my favorite games of all time. I have to be honest, talking about this game kind of brings a little bit of tears to my eyes. This wasn't the beginning of my gaming life, but it was the very first multiplayer online game I played ever. Heck, even thanks to this game, I met the one who ended up becoming one of my best friends of all time. And if I hadn't started playing these online multiplayer games, I might have never met my closest friends. This game is by far, by a pretty large margin, the MMO I have played the most in my entire life, and I have been playing it on and off since 2005. This game even had a sequel, Ragnarok Online 2, but honestly I'm not going to talk about that one because, to be honest, it wasn't any good. And as I mentioned, it was one of the many fantasy MMOs that released at the time, and it was kind of late to the party, so. But anyway, why do I think Ragnarok Online was so great of a game that even to this day, it still makes me come back every once in a while? Well, I think it was uniqueness and timing. There was nothing like it at the time, and I think there is still nothing like it. Some of my favorite features were the very particular graphics with 2D sprites in 3D environments, the job or class progression system, which at the time I thought it was amazing. Leveling up your abilities and at some point evolving your class to the next level, and yes, I even include the revert system. If you know what I mean, you know it. It was just so good. And the last part is that when I started playing, the job diversity was pretty massive and each job felt really unique, and as someone who enjoys creating different characters, I always had a field day with all the options I had. And yes, the game has changed very drastically from what it was in the early 2000s, but even the newer versions of the game, I actually really enjoy them. However, my love for the game comes with a very huge caveat, and is that I mostly played on private servers. And I know. Private servers shouldn't count because it can be considered that it's not the same game because they always change a lot of things. However, what I like about private servers is that I never had to deal with one of the worst parts of the game in what I think was what actually ended up killing it for me, which was the monetization. Not only was the game paid to play in the early 2000s, yes, now it's free to play, but it was also and still is egregiously pay to win, which shouldn't be that much of a surprise since that is the typical Korean MMO monetization. And I could keep talking about Ragnarok Online, but the point is that it hasn't been relevant enough for people to consider it as part of a best MMO list in over a decade. And that part actually kind of breaks my heart. So that's it. Those are the 3 games I really missed while watching the Ultimate List. Thanks to the Vice President of MMOs, Josh Strife, for making such amazing, impressive, and above all, scientifically accurate video. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you liked the video. Have a great day and see you on the next one. Bye!